Not everyone will like you, and that's a good thing. Before I tell you why it is a good thing, first I'm going to ask a question. How do you know if you're being authentic or not? How do you know if you're being authentic or not? I'll wait. All right, I'm done waiting. You know if you're being authentic or not by how others treat you. By how others treat you. And what I mean by this is that the truth is that not everyone will like you. And you need to accept that fact. Especially you people pleasers. Not everyone will like you. And you need to see the beauty in that. And you can see this in your own life. How if everyone seems to like you, you're obviously sacrificing your authenticity. Because when you're being authentic, not everyone's going to like you. Because we live in a polarized world. A polarized and dual world. Where there's two extremes. And you're either on... People tend to be on either extreme because we're biased, and that's okay. And when you're authentic, when you're being authentic, there's obviously going to be people who don't like who you are, who don't accept who you are. This is why people pleasing is such a big problem. Because you search for validation and approval from others, but to do that, to even get their approval, you need to sacrifice something that's inside of you, which is your authenticity. And you basically become a slave to other people's desires and judgments, like a dog on a leash. They got you on the leash, you're the dog, they're the owner. This is pretty much, you become a slave. And it's only natural for some, because we live in a polarized world, it's only natural for some people not to like you. And for some people to like you and love you. There will be people that will hate your guts. And you need to be fine with that. And I know people pleasing comes from, trauma and childhood, the way you were raised. And you need to heal from that. Because if you're constantly seeking to be liked by everyone, then how can you build deep connection with people? I'm going to say, as long as some people love me, I don't need everyone to like me. As long as you have at least like 5 people who truly accept who you are, why do you need more people to like you? You don't need everyone to like you. What you want is connection, not shallow relationships, which is what searching for other people's approval gets you. How to win friends and influence people. You can read that. You can become everyone's friend. See how that works out. You don't come here to be liked by everyone. You came here to create who you are. And when you create who you are, you're obviously not gonna be able to fit everyone's model of or map of reality, because we all have our different desires, judgments, and biases. And when biases come into play and you're being your authentic self, there's gonna be a bias opposite to you that's not gonna fuck with what you're actually like. They're not gonna accept you. And again, that's okay. That we're all biased. That is okay. That is okay. And it takes courage to be disliked. To be disliked by others. It's a book by two. The Courage to Be Disliked. It's a great book. You should go read it. But yeah, courage comes into play here because in a sense, everything in life takes courage. But here I'll use it. It takes courage to be your most authentic self because, through childhood, through the school system, and just through daily life, people might have put down your authentic self, your natural desires, your inclinations, your wants, your needs, and they might have put that down and said, no, that's not what you want, that's not what you desire, this is what you desire, and they told you that it was wrong. It was wrong. And you need to overcome this because no one else is going to do it for you. You need to heal from this. This is your shadow. There is nothing wrong with it except that you believe and you've taken on the belief that it's wrong. There's nothing inherently wrong with it, with your own natural desires and your authenticity. So when this happens, we tend to form our desires or form ourself to other people's desires. This is almost like shape-shifting towards other people's wants and needs instead of being our most authentic self and not doing the shape-shifting. Because when you shape-shift, I'm using shape-shift as a word for you just sacrificing authenticity and forming to other people's wants and needs. Okay, so when you shape-shift, again, you're essentially becoming their slave because you're doing what they want even though it's not what you naturally want. And in some cases, this is actually essential in some cases because let's say you have a child and you need to do what's best for the child. And this is what love is about. It's to see other as other. So sometimes you need to, shapeshift into a specific role when you're loving someone. But as long as you know that you don't stay there, it's fine. And you have to see this from a wider perspective, based on connection. So when you conform to other people's desires and judgments, you sacrifice who you are, your values, your principles, pretty much everything about you. Become their pet. Almost like Pinocchio on strings. You become a puppet. Like Kermit the Frog. Is he a puppet? Like I said, it's better to have 5 people who accept and love you than 500 people who just like you. You don't need to be friends with everyone. You don't need to be liked by everyone. Matter of fact, you should not want to because you can't connect deeply and love everyone. It's not possible. You don't have that much energy. And what you want is love. This noise in the back, I'm sorry. Oh my God. It's like running water in the basement. Alright, so you don't need to be liked by everyone, and you don't need to love everyone. And vice versa. In relationships, they're not about the quantity, they're about the quality. And that's something I'll talk more about, quality versus quantity. Just like anything in life, it's about the quality, not the quantity. With most things. I don't know if that's with everything. I have to think about that more. Contemplate that more. So work on creating your most authentic self. Because it is a process of creation. And, tapping into your higher self and your emotions and your intuition to see what's unique and original about you. Because we're all different. No matter what, the media, society tells you, we are not the same. We are equal, but we are not the same. You know, society has mixed up equality with sameness. And you need to work on finding or creating and tapping into your uniqueness and originality. Know yourself as like, just figure out like what you're actually like as like an ego personality. Because again, we're all different, and that's a beautiful thing. And this is the contrast in reality, that life, because we live in a polarized world, life brings you or puts into your experience what you don't like, so you can better figure out and create what you do like. That's the contrast. And that's okay. You don't need to like everything, because you're not enlightened. You're human. Man, woman, whatever you are, you have your biases. And this is a very like ironic thing, that the less authentic you are, and the more you sacrifice your authenticity and your naturalness, which is something you create for other people's wants and desires, the more people like you but don't love you. It's almost like you're even more lonely. This is actually a breeding ground for loneliness, because there's no connection. There's no connection. There's no deepness to it. There's no quality. So if you have 500 people who just like you, but you really aren't connected to any of them on a deep level, you will feel much more loneliness than having no friends at all, or no relationships at all. Because at least when you have no relationships, like, you can connect deeply with yourself. But now bring this, if you have like 10 or like 5 people who accept you and love you, and you love them and accept them, you will feel much joy. And it takes courage to enter these relationships, because you risk the chance of being hurt by others, and you hurting others, like them hurting you and you hurting them. But this is one of the biggest joys in life: relationships and connection with others. And this is how you stop loneliness, or cure the loneliness. It's not by the quantity, it's by the quality, and the connection, and the deepness. And I'll do more about this in another video. But, create your authentic self. Be you. And, yeah, peace.